I'd love to hear a bit about the hats that you wear and also the three major points really that you can identify that have in your life so far that have got you to where you are today.
Well, I think probably the three hats I'm wearing have been created by the pivots, I suppose. So they're all very intertwined. So at the moment, I would say I am wearing the hat of being an entrepreneur, the hat of being a single mother, and then also the hat of like uncovering who I really am. So sort of like peeling off all those layers, and everything is intertwined, but they're the three distinct areas I probably see in my life at the moment. And obviously with entrepreneurship and the AI revolution that's happening at the moment. So it's like learning the agentic AI economy and how all the technology is moving so fast. So that is such a fast moving space. And especially as an entrepreneur, I've got Skanties anti-shapewear brand, which I will talk about how that happened. The AI economy is just moving so fast. So keeping up with that, I'm doing a lot of research and digging into like there's so many new apps and so many new technologies, and it's very overwhelming. So studying the back end of that and automation and workflows, probably so I can free up more time to be able to be a mum and also to dig into like who I am and why we're here. And they're all so interrelated. And I really noticed over the last sort of few months that I really forgot about the remembering who I am and operating from that. And I went into autopilot, really busy into the entrepreneur side and just really bang, bang, bang. But I think if you don't have the balance, then you lose sight, and the universe will tell you, like you get shown very quickly if where you're putting all your energy, like if you are smashing out proposals and this and that and nothing, and none of the doors are opening, it reminds you you have to take a step back and then reconnect back in and start using your heart as the sat nav. And then the head is still the driver, but the heart has to lead. And it's a new dance, I think, that I'm learning to like balance, because I think we're not so used to running from our hearts, like using this as our guidance system. Like I think in the past, we've sort of fluked it, when you feel really excited to do it, but the really excited feeling to do something didn't override all the shoulds and the expectations of what you should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just peeling back nearly everything I do and like, but why should I? Like, and checking back in. So I'm having a bit of a dance with that at the moment.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel that too. And that is the journey that I've been on actually with Project Emerald difference. So, yeah, super, that resonates a lot with me.
Yes, and I think it's probably nearly a result of this busyness crisis that we've all like the AI speed of execution has really to slow down and like check in.
Yeah.
This connection is the one that knows the right way. Like it knows more than I and look, and I love our brains. Our brains are fantastic for actually getting the stuff done, but making sure we listen in. And I think that AI has made everything busier and faster, and social media and like consumption and everything. There's so much sort of distraction out there that if you don't sort of come back within and check in with, well, what do I really need right now?
Mm-hmm.
And it might be to smash out that like tax return, but it might also be to lie on the bed and do a meditation, or like I have a really busy brain. So sometimes I need to watch television to make it like just stop thinking. Like I
Mm-hmm.
need that like connection with something else, because my brain can run away. Then you actually glitch. I glitch. It's like burnout where you just, and your brain stops working. You can't even figure out if you want peanut butter toast or avocado, like, do you know what I mean? Or a fruit salad, like, and you just glitch and you have no idea where you're at. So yeah, just the speed of life and the busyness of life has, I think it's come to a point where we can't not check in anymore
Mm.
because we'll all just be catatonic.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you talk to us about the three pivots that you've identified that, have shaped who you are and where you are today?
Yes, definitely. So in our early 20s, my sister and I, we actually pivoted out of business degrees, and I was an engineer and I was doing a master's in finance and she was doing international business. And one of the assignments was to find like a market with triage arbitrage in it. So like an underserved market that we could enter in really easily. And we love traveling, like backpacker traveling around Southeast Asia. And so we did the assignment in real life and visited manufacturing companies in Thailand and Bali and India and China. And we ended up creating a maternity clothing industry. So in our mid-20s, never having been pregnant, but at the time it was a really underserved market because people were just designing what had been done forever, and it worked, but it wasn't stylish and it wasn't glamorous, like it wasn't fun. And so as two younger girls that like love fashion and colors and like fun, bright clothing. So that was a fantastic like sort of entry point because we were thinking about it differently. And that's where the engineering brain, I suppose the entrepreneurial brain, it's like, okay, that's being done this way, but why does it have to be? Why can't we make the fun dresses that are being sold everywhere that you want to buy if you're not pregnant into maternity clothes? My first big pivot was when the GFC came and that business shut down because we just had too many bad debts and it just became not worth it. I pivoted from that back into engineering. So I did construction in remote Queensland for gas compressor stations.
Right.
And so I think what that taught me, that pivot was, because it sounds like a crazy pivot, but in actual fact, looking back on hindsight, when I look at it now, is that maternity clothing design and manufacturing is still mechanical engineering. And in fact, it's actually harder than doing piping and like putting things into equipment because they're like round pipes, or like you go in an elbow, you have it bigger or smaller. Does it go down? Does it go up? It's really simple. Whereas an evolving body requires a lot more thought in the design and adaptability and flexibility. So I think what that pivot taught me is whatever you've learnt along the way, you'll be surprised how you can apply it. And I think it's the beginning of you learning to trust yourself. And I think like, well, if I can pivot to that and all of a sudden be doing something totally different, it's because you're solving problems in a low stakes environment. So like when you're backpacking, you might be lazy and sleep in. So you catch the bus at 11 a.m. and you don't get to the destination. So you have to find a little hut somewhere to stay before you can keep going the next day. So low stakes environment, there's guides to help you. Like they still help you find food. It's not a big deal. And I think that that's one of the key life lessons is learning to trust yourself in a low stakes environment and then being able to apply the same as the stakes get higher and higher. So that pivot there was definitely where I was like, okay, I can actually do things. Like I've got some skills. I can, like, it's project management, it's logistics, quality control, scheduling, all of the same things. So I think it's the point that pivot and the learning to trust that if you can just take a breath and just give yourself some space, we can do anything.
Yeah.
Definitely. So then the second pivot would be when I left that business. So I had an unexpected divorce. It came sort of semi out of the blue, and I had 3 kids, 5, 3, and 1. And I was a FIFO engineer. So I can't be a FIFO engineer when you have kids that little. Well, I could. I chose not to because my value was to spend time with my kids when they were little. And so that's when I decided to start Skanties. And so and this is what I do to myself to back myself into a corner. I booked 3 frequent flyer points. So like you can't move them easily. But for me, if I have something booked like that, it's very easy to just turn up to the airport. And then it's very easy to get on the plane. I hadn't been to China in about 8 years. So like I had no idea if anything I knew was going to still be there. I had no idea. Like I didn't even have the phone numbers for anyone. I had nothing. But luckily we'd had the tech revolution by then. So we had smartphones and we had WeChat and we had translator apps. So the world had evolved to make it a bit more friendly. I used to land in Hong Kong. Can I still figure out how to get to China? Can I still figure out how to get to my hotel? Like just taking little steps and let's just see. And I suppose that really taught me the process of like, if I knew what I know now, like the thought of that would be so overwhelming. But when you just take little step, little step, little step, or let's just see if that works. Let's just see if that works. And you just sort of take little steps and then eventually you notice that, and then a little setback, but you're never right back at the beginning. So I think learning how to just try. Let's just try that. Let's just go and see if the fabric markets are even still there. Let's just go, like little things like that. So I think that pivot really taught me how to just tackle things in just a step-by-step way to not be so overwhelmed by trying to think, but how am I going to do it all? It's like, just start little by little.
Yeah, that's so cool. And I love that travel is often our greatest teacher. Like, you have to think on your feet, you're in an unfamiliar environment. Like, I always think that it's the best investment you could make in yourself, really.
Oh, I agree. And that's also my kids. They're learning that as well. Like my poor son, he he left his passport on the plane. He was going back with a friend back to Australia and he had a very grumpy customs officer. And my friend had already gone through the thing and he wouldn't let her go back and he was 12 and I don't think he'll ever forget his passport again. He
Lo
got it back. He got it back from it was in the seat pocket. Definitely guarantee that boy will never forget his passport ever again in his life.
Love that. And then talk to us about the next pivot.
So that is the most recent pivot, and that was the move to the US. So we're in California now, and I was circling this one for a long time. So like I said, step by step by step, I'd landed stock in the US, and at the time I hadn't definitely decided if we'd move here. It was more just, I knew I needed the US market. It was bigger. We needed to offset the Australian summer because Skanties are really good in hot weather. So in winter, it's a bit quieter. So I was trying to offset this, have an all round year summer. And I just investigated. I just went to Austin in Texas, which is where the warehouse is. And I just drove around Texas and met up with some people and just little by little steps, looked at that. And then over to California, like found a PR agent. And that's when I fell in love with Laguna Beach, which is where we are. And then it was just talking with my friends, and she introduced me to another friend who told me how great the drama program is here. So
Okay.
in Australia, our drama is nothing like the US, and especially for like a creative city like Laguna Beach. My eldest loves drama and like absolutely loves it. And my two girls were not very happy at school in Brisbane. It wasn't the right fit for them. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, that's sort of got my head thinking, well, maybe we could all move over there. That could be really fun. And then
Uh-huh.
floated it with the girls. And it's sort of like, it was like a couple of years process, like even like visas. How do we get a visa? And going through all of those things. And I just approached it the same way I did when I started Skanties. It was just like, okay, well, we'll just try this and then we'll just try this and then we'll just try this. And we sort of just inched our way along and then managed to land in October last year and the girls started school and it was like instant they were home. Like I could not have imagined how happy they'd be and how set, like it was just their people straight away. My daughter walked into this enormous drama theater group. She's always there. She's never home because they're always doing something, a new production, a new musical theater. It was just amazing. But then obviously the next hurdles in that pivot is like getting a social security number, getting like a credit score, getting all of these things which you can only do slowly, bit by bit. And it takes so much time. So having the patience to let it all unfold. And then like now we're in the US, so we can do TikTok shop because we're residents here. So it's learning that process. I nearly need like a reminder on my phone or to stick it on the coffee machine to say, check your what are your three hats doing today? Because
Yeah, right.
otherwise, the brain takes over and then you can lose 3 months of doing and not get anywhere because you haven't checked in but is what I'm doing the right thing? Like, is it the right thing, what I should be doing? So I think
Uh-huh.
that that's been the biggest lesson. But maybe even the going back to China for Skanties was a little bit of checking in with the heart because it was just like, okay, well, let's just do the next step as opposed to sort of jumping straight in and just taking it little by little and sort of, okay, what do we think? Should we go there? Yes. Should I go that? Let's try that. So I think it's that dance is the biggest thing I've learned.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a good way to put it too. So, what does leading from the heart mean to you?
So leading from the heart, I think is when you're so aligned with your why and that everything aligns with that same why. And so for me, my why is to like help myself feel good about myself and then be able to share that with others. So Skanties do that because I call them anti-shapewear, and they originally didn't have the term anti-shapewear in there, but I saw a video by a very famous shapewear owner recommending you wore not one pair, but two pairs of shapewear to achieve this tight look in this dress. And that's when I was like, right, I'm starting an anti-shapewear movement because I am so sick of us being told that our bodies are not okay as they are. So, like, that really was in alignment with my why, that I am sick of it. I want for me to be able to say to myself, we are not going to conform to those standards anymore, and
Mm,
shine a light to anyone that wants to join in.
mhm,
Like if you want to wear shapewear, that is fine and that's fantastic. And that's if that's what you want. But anyone that wants permission to not wear it, I would love to shine the torch on that. So I became very passionate about this anti-shapewear movement. And then from that, what I started realizing, because in business, we're always reiterating our why. Like you're going, but why, but why, but why? I was digging into why are we taught? Why do women hate their bodies so much? Why are our bodies not enough? Like
mm,
and what I found was it's actually, what I'm coining the term emotional shapewear. And emotional shapewear is all of the little comments you had when you were growing up, like, "Oh, you shouldn't wear that top," or, "Oh, like your arms look big in that," or whatever it is, or even listening to other, like, our older women around us talking badly about their bodies. But no
mm,
one asked the question, why? And so I've been digging into it, and what I've actually found is really, us hating our bodies is actually only about 100-year-old problem. Like before that, they were just surviving. Like the first time really like physiques came out like that was probably the 1920s, like flapper style, that really slender sort of look. And then you sort of fast forward to the post Second World War when all the advertising companies and the pharmaceuticals, and you look at those advertisements and they're absolute, like, remember the white wine diet and the take these pills to be energized and thin for your husband. And so that was sort of where big pharma and the advertising industry jumped on board. Because if you look back at history, pre the last 100 years, if you were curvy, it meant you had a lot to eat, like you were wealthy, you weren't going to die if some sickness spread through the village, sort of thing. So I found that really interesting, that it's actually only a problem of the last century. I found that
yeah, right.
fascinating.
Yeah, that's true when you shine a light on it like that.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so then my next digging in question is, why don't we feel enough as we are? I think our bodies are a fantastic 3D representation for us to blame, but I think it's because we can see them and there's a mirror and we can see in it. But what other sort of feelings of unworthiness are you channeling into the hatred of your body? I did a 31-day challenge in July, really to help myself connect in with my own heart and keep myself on track. And it was funny because it was after the 31-day challenge that I actually got stuck in my head for 3 months and didn't realize until recently. But we are all made from the same, like, miraculous essence, like, that makes the stars and the moon and the sun and the waves and the, like, all of it, like, that is like rainbows. Like, we are all made from that same energy. That's like quantum physics. It all comes from the same source energy, a bit like Avatar and tree that has all the energy and everyone connects in and they're all really aware of, like, treating everything the same way they want to be, like, protecting their energy, the animal's energy, the tree's energy. And it's that real balance and like remembering of how precious that energy is. And that's what I think that all of this emotional shapewear is just, it's layers that are in front of our eyes that make us not be able to see the true, like, amazing miracles that we are. And it's like if you think of a newborn baby, like, they are the most precious thing in the world. Like, they are, and no one, in fact, if they've got rolls on their legs, everyone's cheering. Like, what a cute baby. I had a little exercise where you go back to, like, that little version of yourself where all of a sudden, like, maybe someone shouted at you or something, and all of a sudden that's where it starts, and you start to feel like there's something wrong with you, and just hug that version of you. Because and like, did they deserve love? And if they deserve love, that's, you are them. Like, it's no different. So love yourself like you would love yourself as a baby, or would love yourself as a toddler, or would love yourself as the 6-year-old that's crying, or the love yourself as the little 9-year-old that's being bullied at school. Like, that's the love we need to give to ourselves. And so I'm
Mm,
very passionate about this topic, because I've just been digging into, well, why don't we feel like we're enough? Why are we not, do we feel we're not rich enough? We're not smart enough. We think about ourselves, they're not true. Like, they're just not true. Like, you are as enough as the love that little baby gets. Like, you deserve that much love. So that's what I've uncovered.
Yeah, I love that. It's so interesting, and there needs to be more conversations about this, I believe. So, why do you think so many women become disconnected from their intuition and their inner knowing? Is it from that conditioning?
Oh, yes, the busyness. The busyness. Like, and look, Captain Guilty on the busy. Like, I could cram more into my day, like so many things into my day, it would make your head roll. Look, I'm still guilty of it sometimes, but it's busyness, it's distractions, it's the expectations. It's like we run ourselves ragged because we must stack the dishwasher and have the washing done every day and make sure all the beds are made. And so I've just actually said, well, why? Like,
Mm,
if that's actually eating me, and if I don't make the kids' beds in the morning and get to sit down for 2 minutes and have my coffee for me, that's actually feeding me more than the bed's being made because you should leave the house tidy. Like, if I can get that 2 minutes to drink my coffee, or just instead of rushing through the shower, like these are little practices you can do already. Instead of rushing through your shower, like where I've got to go, da, 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 it's like just a quick split second of awareness and a breath. And I'm going to enjoy the water. It might still be the same length shower, but just being present and like breathing back in and enjoying it and sort of just slowing that central nervous system down. And I
mhm,
think a good way to do that is to, like, you know, when you accidentally you've spilt the coffee or you stub your toe or someone cuts you off in traffic, I like to say, what's your automatic reaction to that? Are you like, silly, oopsies? And that will give you a level of where your central nervous system is, your
mm,
automatic responses to things like that. So if you're shouting at the coffee pot at 7 a.m., it might be time to take your coffee into the garden and just put your feet on the ground and drink it there. Like, if we check in with ourselves from those automatic responses, then you get to start feeling it. So if something comes up, you can actually gauge, well, where am I at? As I said, lately, I've been like getting so in my head that I would glitch and I can't decide if I want to eat, like, I don't know, tacos or a fruit bowl. Like my brain I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. So I know then that I need to pull back and do something in my magic toolbox just to center back in and ground. And sometimes it doesn't even take that long. It can take, I remember when I had the big glitch, which was like I couldn't think what to bring to a Memorial Day barbecue, like a salad. Like, I love to cook. I could name 100 salads I could cook like that. And I could not figure it out at all. And so the next day I said, okay, I'm just going to take as long as I need. And I went for a beach walk and I did a meditation and I had a nice shower and did all these things. And then I looked at the clock and it was like 10:30 a.m. And I was like, so I'd given myself all this, like the whole day to do whatever I needed. And I already was back to center. So I think finding what things give you that back and then knowing when to implement them. And you might not be able to take an hour and a half off, but just take something little, like maybe sit in your car. Like, I love to turn up places 20 minutes early, especially like school pickup. And
mhm,
then you can put some music. You're blocking yourself out time because you're not going to be late because you're already there. So then you can just relax for 20
mm.
minutes, put on a guided meditation, or so listen to some fun music or whatever it is that will feed you.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love that tip. And yeah, so talk to us more about your magic toolbox. You've mentioned a few things there.
The thing with magic toolboxes, though, is everyone's toolbox will be different.
Mm,
So, like, for me, like, it's what, like, like, what gives you the wiggle? What makes you go, oh my God, this is so good? Like, what makes you, like, light up? And so for me, I get this in the supermarket. I'll see like a beautiful cauliflower or something. And then I'm like, oh my God, that cauliflower looks so amazing. And it's like, I want to make like cauliflower cheese. I want to make roasted cauliflower soup. I'm going to make this. And then I was like, oh, but if I'm making cauliflower cheese, I'll have white sauce. So then I'm going to make eggplant parmesan. So I'm going to need eggplants. And then if I'm making the tomato sauce, and I'm going to make this. And so then I'll go home and I will cook 8 things at once, 7 of which my children won't eat. But that for me is like, that lights me up. And I'll go and I'll put music on and I will chop and cook and season and it's like a little dance. So to other people, that might be their idea of hell. But so it's finding the things that give you that, oh my God, this is so, I love doing this. So it
mm,
might be drawing or some people like journaling. See, I can't stand like writing journaling. That does nothing for me. Absolutely nothing. But other people love doing it, getting all their thoughts out onto paper. I've also really got bad handwriting, so my letters get all jumbled up. So it doesn't give me that nice sense of release and relief that it does for other people.
yeah.
But so get a playlist. I have a Susie Unshaped playlist actually, which is just all songs just making you feel good about you. Basically, they're just on Spotify. Make yourself a play. Every time you hear a song and it goes like, yes, I love that, just add to playlist. And then you've got the playlist. If you're feeling like you need an energizer, or if I need a reset, Enya. I'll put Enya on while I'm working, and I find it just keeps me more centered. Whereas other people might be, I can't stand Enya. Or classical, like I love the Bridgerton classical music as well because it doesn't have lyrics. Meditation for me, I love meditations, and I started writing them because I love them so much.
Awesome.
So, yeah, they're on the YouTube channel as well, because for me, if you like have bought yourself maybe 20 minutes or 30 minutes, but you don't know what to do, I think putting on a meditation that might, like, firstly, the breaths, like breathing, just box breathing is a really quick fix that you can do anywhere. Waiting for the kids, and it will instantly like bring you down. So just 4 in, hold for 4, 4 out, hold for 4 at the bottom. But yeah, so the meditations always start with that breathing. So you're basically getting a guided breath work. I love music, and I love beautiful like forest sounds and ocean sounds, and then like the angelic sort of music, and just going on a little journey, and I walk them through relaxation, and then you go into a journey of whichever the meditation is about.
Find out what sparks your joy for you, I guess.
Definitely. I think us all talking about it more is
Yeah.
great because it's shining awareness on I'm allowed to feel good, because we come from the
Yeah.
era, the generation where it's like punishment is motivation, and
Mm.
like you flog yourself through that. Like a great example is I used to run for fitness and strength. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I ran at school and it wasn't so bad then, but when I was older, I disliked it immensely. And I kept doing it because I should keep my body healthy and strong. And then I found a gym, and it wasn't expensive, and it had these great classes and great music. And I used to go, and it used to smell amazing and have beautiful showers afterwards. And I swapped to that. I had the same end result, but I loved going. Like, it was still difficult, but I actually enjoyed it. So where are you flogging yourself to do something just because of an end result, which you can actually adapt the middle conditions to? So to make it enjoyable, it's like I can still get the end result, but there's a million different ways I can do it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And what have been your biggest lessons in about trusting yourself that you've experienced?
It's really building up. It's like you build up the trust. So then you know how to listen. Like probably this moving here, that was a big leap of faith. Like I knew it had a fantastic drama program, but I didn't know she was going to walk in and be instantly received by an entire community of people that just made her feel seen and feel heard. I knew that we had to be here, but when I then saw the outcome, I was like, it was like my heart knew that this was where they needed to be. And also they were desperate to come as well. So it was like everyone knew that that's where we needed to be. I think probably when I got divorced, because it was unexpected as well, that process of learning to trust myself, you start learning all these things about yourself and you think you know everything. And then I look back now and like I'm still learning. I think knowing that we're never going to stop learning things about ourselves and how we are wired and ticked and how to run our lives on this sort of trust basis from our hearts and really listening in. And does that feel right? And it's like, listen to the language. I limped through a proposal, but
Well,
now I'm having to play with this. So you're kind of giving yourself a roadmap for what your body wants to do, like what feels good to you. Like it comes out of your mouth, and it's just having that awareness to listen to what you're actually saying. Like, how are you speaking about a task?
yeah.
And how, like, if you look at another task, like, what does it feel like in your body? That's awesome. That's so exciting. And then something that might be so exciting, halfway through it you might get lots of blocks coming up, and it might be just, okay, that's time to step away from that and pivot to something else because it's now feeling overwhelming. And obviously with deadlines and stuff, sometimes you can't. But if you can, it's maybe let's just switch and pivot for a bit, do
Uh-huh.
something else until that feels exciting again and let the blocks clear.
Yeah, true. And if you're someone that works under pressure, potentially it's waiting until the last minute to smash it out, get it done.
And in those cases, you just need to adapt your environment to make it the most pleasant that you can. So put on whichever music is going to fuel you to do that job, like housework. I said we pause the housework, but occasionally I feel really inspired to do the housework, but I make it enjoyable and put on Fleetwood Mac because Fleetwood Mac is the best house cleaning music to me. I just find the beats so good and try and make the task so enjoyable, adapt the conditions to whatever you're doing. If it's one of those things that has to be done that you don't particularly want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So, touching on the journey back to yourself, was there a moment when you realized you weren't fully living as yourself?
Definitely. And I was really lucky. I was really lucky when the divorce happened that I did have like quite a good, like, spiritual mentor. The first thing was, like, in this case, a divorce, it takes 50% of both parties to make that event happen. So it was sort of like a snap out of there's no victim mode. Like, I contributed to this end result equally to the other party contributing to the end result. Like, you could put blame places, but I think learning to take that ownership early on and actually see, okay, yes, you did contribute here. You did contribute that there. Like, you're not a saint just because you were the one staying. It's like, where have I been abandoning myself? I actually was throwing a little hissy fit the other day and I said to my sister, I said, I'm actually not mad at them. I'm mad at myself because I abandoned me and I gave it away. So I think now looking at when situations irritate you, what did I contribute to that though? Did
Yeah.
I abandon myself? Did I not state things clearly? So it's sort of like learning to see the situation from both sides and realize that everyone plays a part in everything from both sides.
Yeah, that's true. And guess what prompted you to make that change? Was it just experience or, take that ownership?
I think I was probably like lucky that someone said, hey, go and see this person. So then once you start uncovering those things, like I love to learn. Then what's this? And then you go down the rabbit hole and you start learning to peel off all the layers and you learn a little bit about this and a little bit about that. I think we're just these massive onions and
Mm,
everything's a layer, like every aha moment about yourself. So and the job is never done. There will always be new layers to peel off. The point I was digging into was what's the point of all of this? Like, why are we here? Like, when you have that sort of light, your life blows up, you're like, well, what is the point of all of this? If I wasn't supposed to be married with my 3 kids and that's all fallen apart and now I've got to rebuild out of the rubble, what's like, I want to know what the point is before I go and invest in this. So it's that existential crisis that causes you to start digging and like, well, what is the point? And I remember I read a really fantastic book by Anita Morjani, and she had an near-death experience where she had like stage 5 cancer. She was dead basically, and she crossed over and she came back and then she wrote about her experience. And it just shone a light for me on the point of all of this, which is basically to live here in joy and be of service in joy. And if that helps other people be in their joy, then like a flow on effect. And if we're all just being true to ourselves and living in our joy and recalibrating when we find ourselves going off base, then everyone could live in their joy. And that's the point.
yeah.
Actually, the 31-day challenge, like I've been probably looking into studying this for 11 years. And it wasn't until the 31-day challenge in January that it all started to really click. Like all of the things I've learned, I was like, oh, that makes sense now. Oh, I love to use movies as references. So City of Angels, do you remember that movie with Nicolas Cage? He's the angel and Meg Ryan, she's the doctor.
Yes. Yes, I
Yeah.
do.
So I was walking down to the beach one day and the sun was shining and I was just like, put my arms out like that. You know how she does on the bike when she's coming down the sunshine, and it just clicked straight into my head. And I was like, oh my God, this makes so much more sense now, because the theory is that when we're like souls, not in a human body, we conceptually understand like what love is, what pain is, what fear is, like all of the emotions. But it's only when we choose to come down and incarnate into the bodies that we get to physically like feel what love feels like. Or in his case, like when he's asking her and she's eating the pear and he's like, well, what does that taste like? And she says, what, you've never eaten a pear? Because he understands what a pear should taste like, but he actually doesn't know what it tastes like. And so he fixes it and said, well, I don't know what it tastes like to you. And then so she describes it. So grainy and soft and cold and sweet and smooth. And that's when we're not in a human body with our taste buds and our like senses, it's all conceptual. So he obviously chooses to not become an angel, to become a human so he can feel his love. Like he wants to give up all of that just to feel what it would be like to love her. And I think that was a big aha moment for me, that we're here to feel, like to feel everything.
And I guess like that's the problem with so many distractions and the busyness, is that you aren't giving yourself the time or the space to feel and
Yes.
to connect back in, which is the point of the movement that we're trying to create to live more intentionally.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm not sure if you've ever read Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with God.
I haven't, no.
And it expands a lot more on that theory that you can't feel it. This is what we're here to feel, these things, to feel these emotions. And it's like God, I know God can be a dirty word to some people, but spirit, universe, like source energy, it's all the same energy. And like without feeling pain, like or sadness, how do you feel joy? How do you know what joy feels like? If you live in joy all the time and have never experienced the opposite, you need to have the counterbalance of the emotion to
The
understand
contrast.
like happiness, sadness, like anger. We're here to feel them all. And I think like when we repress those emotions, that's when problems start. I think we also were like taught to be strong, and you don't, like, you get on with it and you don't feel upset or feel hurt, and we push those emotions down. And I think this is all these conversations now about how to learn to safely process the emotions, because they'll come up if we do. How do we learn, okay, I'm allowed to be sad, that thing made me feel sad, and so to sit in the sadness, and it's okay to be sad, and then how to like process it and then move it along and not store it in our bodies.
Mm. Yeah, I'm loving that there's more opportunities to have these conversations, it feels like, to increase our awareness.
Yeah,
Mm.
definitely. And I think that awareness is the magic word.
Mm.
It's that just split second of awareness to even, well, even give yourself the space. I think the busyness takes up the time and the permission we give ourselves to even check in. Like we just go, go, go. It's like just awareness. Oh, we're going to
Mhm.
drink our coffee. And
Mm.
like enjoy it. Like, you get to work and you're like, I know I had a coffee, but I can't even remember drinking it. Like those like we're just rushing through the experience, and the experience is the reason we're here.
Yeah, it's so true. As a mother and the different hats that we wear, like how do we begin reconnecting with who we truly are after years of putting others first?
That is definitely a very good question. I think it's a super important one too, because we're modeling to our children how we feel, how much space that we get to take up. And I think that the day of the martyr is gone. And oh, I was so guilty of being the martyr mother and putting everyone else first and running myself ragged. What teaches our children is that they're not worthy to put themselves first. We're the generation that is like sort of straddling these two worlds and it's clunky. It's like learning to drive a manual car again. It's like you sort of forget, you clunk along. It's like, oh, that's right, I'm supposed to be thinking about myself. And I think that it is going to be clunky for a while. I was really sick a couple of years ago, and I have a darling counselor, Maureen, and she was like, if you get adrenal fatigue, like you can die. Like it can kill you. She knew someone that it had killed. And she was like, if you don't fill your cup, like if you don't invest in yourself, it could seriously cause serious health implications. And so it doesn't have to be that drastic, but I think it goes back to I am enough to invest time and space into looking after myself. And it's the cliche of the cup being, you can't fill from an empty cup. It's permission from yourself to gift yourself the time and space to look up, to care for you. And it's so true. Like if you're depleted, like the kids don't get the best of you. No one gets the best of you. But we are in that clunky, I think, transition stage where it's so easy to go back into autopilot. So that awareness and the conscious choosing to reinvest back into yourself. And it's as important as sleep, exercise, nutrition, that like calming your central nervous system down is as important. Like it should be on the list with those things. And I think it is starting to be talked about a lot more, which is fantastic because, as I said, adrenal fatigue can kill you.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I guess it's back to that awareness of that you can't fill from an empty cup. So I'm just making that a priority. Yeah, I'd love to chat to you now about authenticity and courage, which are two really important topics. So, have you ever found yourself living according to someone else's definition of success?
Yes, definitely. Like, I only think it's only been recently because this like ties into this whole I'm not enough and the shame cycle and the masks that we wear and what mask we put on for that person. And I've spent my whole life with wearing all of those masks because if you take those masks off and you actually let them see the real you, we have this like horrible fear that they're going to hate who we are. And I've been linking that to like it's a primitive fear that if you get kicked out of the tribe, you'll die because you can't live without the other tribesmen. If you're out of the cave, you're dead. So it's that old, like primitive patterning to be acceptable and accepted and people pleasing. Don't rock the boat. And the people pleasing and the martyr of, oh, I won't tell them what I really want. I'll just go along with whatever. The people pleasing is actually lying to the other person. You're not actually giving them the opportunity to like assess what you actually want. Like you're stealing the opportunity away from them. And when I heard it like that, when you think you're being the good martyr, good person being the people pleaser, just going along with the flow, when I heard it as a form of lying, it just completely changed the script on it. And I was like, okay, wow. And look, I still am not excellent at it because it's vulnerability, really. It's more like feeling safe enough at home with you to just show everyone who you are. And that's scary because we're not used to it. I think the next generation, my kids are much better at this than I was. Much, much better. It's showing the messy bits and not having the polished performance. And I think I've learnt that a lot with Skanties is being on Instagram and having to talk on videos and even doing photo shoots at the beginning, like I was so awkward because vulnerable to be showing myself like that and sharing it like that. But my why for the business was so much bigger that I had to adapt. And I learnt that actually no one's laughing at your photos. Like no one's making fun of you doing this. And it's sort of like you build a safety within you being you. And I think we just have to practice that. Is that actually if you show who you are, probably chances are they're going to like it anyway. And if they don't, that's okay. Maybe they're just not your people. I think with, especially with businesses and Instagram accounts and like, if people don't like you or don't like your content, that's fine. They're not the people that I'm talking to. Like someone could come on here and go, oh my God, what is she talking about? That is absolutely crazy. I don't agree with that. Fantastic. Like everyone should be having their own opinion and their own belief system. It's just like if anything that I say resonates with you, welcome to be here sort of thing. I think I learned this quite on when the kids were little is I never pretended to have it together. That was one thing I was very capable of being open and honest about was of how much I was feeling like a failure at all the parenting things. And you can see people resonating with it when you say, oh, like when you connect with them and say, oh, yeah, my house is a nightmare. Like I fed them fish fingers last night and that's just all I could manage. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden people like, it's like a permission to exhale. And they're like, oh my God, thank God.
Yeah.
Like people are begging you to be authentic and vulnerable so that they have permission to be authentic and vulnerable too. It's
Mm.
like a permission slip when you open up for them that they can open up as well and it's safe.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that for sure. And what helped you break free from that, from living from someone else's definition of success?
I think it's just years and years of just peeling off the layers, just peeling off because you might break free from one area, say like stopping being an engineer to move into Skanties anti-shapewear underwear. Like to some people, they'd be like, well, why would you do that? That makes no sense whatsoever. But for me, like I could be an engineer. It would probably require me to be away from my kids a lot. and I could do it. I can do it fine, but it didn't bring me joy. It didn't
Mm,
spark like excitement in me. I could do it, go through the motions, but that would have been living under someone else's idea of success. Whereas I went out and created a business that sparked joy. And it was hard. Like it has taken a long time. And it was a side hustle for a very long time. And it was very tough. It wasn't the easy road.
mm,
But my why was so strong in it that it keeps, and I think when you're doing something from a purposeful, like passion led place, you can get through a lot more hard, like tougher situations because why drags you through it. So I think engineering, I could do it. I'd probably be depressed and bored and like you wouldn't have that spark. And then that carries through the rest of your life as well, like all of like your home time, like, and like dreading going to work. So it filters down through everywhere. So I would say that was the first pivot into starting to live more authentically to who I was and what sparked joy. And then it's just sort of little by little peeling off the other layers. It's an ongoing process.
yeah, absolutely it is. And what, in your opinion, why is authenticity so important?
Definitely just because you showing people the real you gives you the chance to actually, are they my people or not? Like if you're hiding it up, don't try and fit. Don't, if they're not your people, know quickly. You don't need to waste time. If you're two polar opposite magnets, like show them and like show them fast to attract the people who are your people. So like it just makes it faster if you're open, authentic. And then it gives, I think that permission slip for them to be open and authentic as well is just so important because I've seen it happen with people. The second I've like showed them what a mess I was, they're like, "Oh my gosh, like, oh thank God. I can feel safe to be me and not have it all together." So it's you're actually helping people by being authentically you.
Mm, yeah, and also not wasting your time, I guess, as well.
Completely at that. And I think that that's how come like influencers, there's been such a shift in influencers to showing the messy everyday life and not the polished. Because you know how there was a sea of influencers, all the perfect, everything was perfect, shots like glamorous. And like I think, well, for me, I never followed them myself.
Mm.
Like when you follow authentic people, like that you connect with, like from sort of like a heart place. We don't have time to muck around. Let's just find our people that make us feel good and feel seen and feel heard. So I suppose authenticity is a link to that. And everyone wants to feel seen and feel heard. And I think when you're authentic, the people that the people that you connect with
What role does courage play in living a heart-led life?
so much. You do have to be brave, very brave, because as I said, this is uncharted territory. We're not used to this. We're not used to leading from our heart, and it can be really hard to listen when your head is saying, hang on, no, no. And we jumped off a lot of steps before we were probably ready to. And it was my heart saying, nope, do it, do it. And some of the stuff was scary. Like we hadn't got the visa approved yet. We had the appointment, but I moved out of my house, my rental. I packed everything up and I moved out of the house, but we didn't have the visa yet. So that was like a massive courage play, I suppose. But my heart was so strong on it that it did take me a day or two to just like, oh God, oh God. And then I was like, no, it's a yes, we're doing this. We didn't have everything sorted, but I was like, we just jumped and just sorted it out and figured it out. As I said, like the backpacking and then the maternity clothing in China and then pivoting into engineering and then pivoting back to China. It's building up that trust, I suppose, that you can just go over there and just do little by little. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Like, worst case, there's planes that go back to Australia. Worst case scenario. But the courage is actually in yourself. Like, courage that you can just take it little by little and just work through it and just assess each thing as you go. Bite off more than you can chew. Just process what you can process. And I would often say to my kids, like, they'd be trying to get an answer about something and I was like, I would love to give you an answer right now, but I actually don't have enough pieces of data yet to calculate it. Like I can't get to that with what I'm working with here. Like I need some more pieces of the puzzle before I can get to that point. So I suppose it's great to show them that there's multiple pieces of the puzzle. You can't make the big puzzle picture without all the pieces. So if all the pieces aren't there, you need to just keep working until you find the rest of the pieces and then you can make the picture. But I would say I'm probably not the best protector of energy, but I'm good at noticing when it's starting to like go too far. And I am very guilty. I wouldn't say I'm the best to answer this question because I often go too far and then I'll find myself depleted and in an absolute heap, glitching. And I'll be like, yeah, you went too far. And then I go back to the magic toolbox and pull it back in, especially if I'm mad about something. I'll do an assessment. Okay. Why are you so mad about this? And where have I given my energy away? And I'll be like, yep, you gave it away there and there and there and there. So I'm definitely still a work in progress. And I think having the awareness that mostly when you're angry at yourself, and to see where did you give your energy away that has caused those emotions. I have no idea if that would work for anyone else, but that's how I do it. I actually have a really good one for protecting energy on phone calls that people might be able to use. And that's like, if you know you've got someone that always calls you for a long time, like not usually the positive uplifting calls, they're like moaning calls. It's like, look at the clock when they're calling. And when you pick up, you say, okay, I've got 10 minutes. Let's go. I've got a call in 10 minutes, but I can talk until then. And then watch the time. And then a minute before the thing, you just go, okay, I'm going to have to wrap this up. So that is one way I do protect my energy on calls. Sometimes just take a step, before, especially when we've got like lots of big group posts and things, and you can contribute till the cows come home, but just take a breath before you start in. It's like, is this a good use of my energy? Or would maybe the 2 minutes I spent typing that, maybe I just need to come and sit for a second. Like, just again, awareness. Is this a good use of my energy? Is it feeding me or eating me? And if you can invest it in yourself instead of it being eaten from you, then that's a double win. Firstly, I would tell you, you are amazing. You are beautiful. You are like exactly enough as you are right now, not smart enough, not richer, not smarter, not thinner, not prettier, not whatever it is that makes you feel like you're trying to get to a destination where you will be enough is not true. It's right now. You are that miracle right now. And this is the part where you're going to slowly start peeling off all the things that make you feel like you're not enough. And like maybe just think back to yourself as a little child and just sit there and look at a picture of you if you can't visualize it and feel the love, or look at one of your children, look at one of them and just feel the love that you have for them. And that's the same level of love you deserve. It hurts. And that is what you need to redirect back in, because the love you have for them, that's the same love that you have for yourself. Like, we just need to swing it back around and start directing it inwards. And it seems to be easier to direct it to you when you were littler, I think, and then work up, and then you can start working into directing it into you now and start doing things that light you up. Start pushing the shoulds aside. Like, if the word should is in a sentence, I want you to question it. Why should I? Why should I? Is it to be thin? Kick that out of bed. Is it to have a tidy house? Like, if it's going to eat away at you and not feed you, and if it feeds you, do it. If it eats away at you, don't do it. Like, that is like the rules to live by. Is it feeding you or is it eating you? It's conscious awareness to start filtering every bit of input that you're getting through that. It takes a while to practice it. They're like millions of downloadable free PDF affirmation sheets. You can cut them out and print them out and put them in a jar and just pull them out just to remind you, or stick them around the house, or just get like right on your bathroom mirror with lipstick, or whatever it is that you need to remind you. Stick a note on the coffee machine, like write yourself a note and put it in like pockets of jeans and jackets, and then you find it in there. Like, just whatever you can do to remind, like, bring that conscious awareness back with, actually, yeah, that's right. I am amazing. I am like a miracle of the universe. Like, and we just like, then slowly the belief will creep in. It'll have like a snowball effect. Okay, living intentionally is remembering to check into the heart, remembering to check into the sat nav before just the head takes off. And that does take that split second of awareness to actually check in. What you want is okay. Like, what it is that you want, when you take away all those expectations, all the shoulds, it's okay for you to want whatever it is that you want. Like, taking away all the judgments that we have of ourselves, that we think other people are judging on us, but they're really not. We're judging ourselves. Like, we're our harshest critic. Like, we lie to ourselves the most, more than anyone else. It's knowing you deserve whatever it is that's going to make you feel good, pretty much. We've been so programmed to put ourselves second, knowing that if you put yourself first, not only are you modeling to your kids that they should put themselves first, like you're going to have so much energy and joy and like fun in your life. Like it's just, that's intentional living to me. And knowing that you're worth it, understanding that you're absolutely beautiful, exactly as you are. It's all going to be all right. Like it all turns out okay. I'm just consciously choosing more things that my heart wants, like what lights me up. Even if I'm going for a snack, do I want a carrot or do I want strawberries and yogurt? Like which one lights me up? And one time it's the carrot and the other times it's strawberries and the yogurt. Like I know that seems like little, but I think when we do those little micro decisions and start learning to check in how to feel in our body, what our body's telling us. Do I want to have a bath or a shower? Like little choices like that, like just, I know they seem small, but that's how you practice. So then when it's a bigger decision, you can feel it. And also knowing when it turns from being fun and not so fun anymore. If you got this, turn and do something else that is fun and then circle back around on that one when it does feel fun again, and just try to live from the feel, like how things feel. That I think is what I'm trying to consciously choose at the moment and kick those shoulds out of bed. I'm on YouTube as Susie Unshaped. So we're unshaping all of the emotional shapewear that's been put on us. And then Skanties.co. So it's a Skanties with a K, SKANTIES.co is our website, and you'll find us on Instagram under Skanties and Susie Unshaped as well. So, but YouTube has like heaps of free meditations, and it's got the free 31-day challenge, which is basically like a prolonged version of me uncovering all of these things about myself. And then we've also got the series with my sister Cass, Susie on the Sofa with Cass, which is about her Camino walk and relating that to real life. I hope that some of that will resonate with you. And thank you so much, Eve, for having me.